All right, we should be in there. We should be good to go, guys. We're doing it. We got a late afternoon show. Hopefully everybody is doing well. Y'all know what to do. It's Friday. Drop a 1 in the chat if you could hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We should be ready to get into it. Man, I might need to start that over. My goodness gracious. Thank you to everyone who's in the building. Excuse me. Shout out to y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the show. It's great to see you guys in here. We've got a very special show planned for you today because we have so many things that we're going to be getting into. So we got to talk about what's happening in Fulton County with this whole Board of Registrations and Elections meeting. We're going to get into what's happening with the mayor in California being caught for trying to infiltrate the United States government. This is getting crazy. And then among so many other stories, we're going to talk about the data centers. We're going to get into this crazy guy who got arrested for attempted murder. It's all insane. But before we get into that, I've got to say what's up to the people. Shout out to everyone who's in the building. Of course, we got my beautiful, awesome, amazing Amy E in here doing what she does, and that's be amazing. Shout out to Amy. Jay Buckmaster is in the building. Alice Dimples is up in here too. Good to see y'all. Yeah, we've got a late afternoon stream for y'all today, so it's gonna be a good one. And I'm gonna get right into it because I know y'all have been waiting for us to start, and we've got a lot to cover. So before I do have a question, or I do have one thing to ask you guys. The main thing I have to ask is that you please like the video on your way in. Guys, likes are free, helps the channel continue to grow, lets the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show, shares the video, the channel, this live stream you're watching right now with more people. So if you could please like the video on your way in. I know you're going to have a good time here. So that's why I'm asking you at the beginning. And plus, it doesn't cost you anything. It takes less than a second. It's quick and easy to do. Thank you to the over 300 of you that have done that so far. I appreciate y'all. Also, if you're feeling extra generous, you can share the video as well. Click the share button. That'll allow you to share the video to any social media platform you're on. And you can even share it via text message. I will be reading super chats during the live stream as well. So if you are feeling extra generous and you want your voice to be heard, you can send in a super chat and I will be reading those at the end of the show. All right. So all the likes are up in the building. Looks like everyone is ready to go. I appreciate y'all because this is going to be a good one. We have so much to cover. And excuse me, I'm specifically excited about this first one because it's always an interesting time. And it's great for me to hear from the people of Fulton County because I talk about it a lot here. You guys talk about it in the comments, but it's good to see people actually getting out and speaking with the Registrations and Election Board, the Board of Commissioners, the State Election Board, because it's very important. So we're going to get into this here. Let me grab a sip of water, actually, just to make sure we don't have any more issues. Excuse me. And then we'll get right into it. All right. So we got to talk about what happened at the recent Registrations and Elections Board meeting right here in Fulton County. And there was a little bit of drama, as there always is. Guys, you know what's going on here in Fulton County and across Georgia, specifically when it comes to the issues with voting. We've talked about some of the things that the governor is doing, some of the things that the state elections board is going to have to be involved in, figuring out what they're going to do coming up July 1st when the QR codes that are on these ballots become illegal. Yes, they're going to have to change the whole system. We're actually going to get in another video and talk about what the governor is doing to help combat that. But first, we're going to hear from the people about how they feel the situation in Fulton County specifically has been handled and what needs to be done moving forward. Check this out.
Hello. Okay. Thank you. Pat Labatt is the poster child for dereliction of duty, long-term malfeasance, and misconduct as a sheriff and custodian of the Rice Street Jail, which has been in severe decline ever since he got
we've been
there.
Talking about.
We're up to at least 30 deaths under his purview. It must be nice to know that you're in large part responsible for that. There is nobody in this county who will tell you that the things are all well and good with Pat Labatt or that jail. I couldn't find anyone who was willing to re-elect him 2 years ago. It might be nice to know that you played a large part in Pat Labatt's 2024 re-selection as sheriff. In light of these new subpoena requests from the DOJ regarding
it's going to be interesting.
An approval by the grand jury, it's a relief to know that the DOJ and FBI will be evaluating all Fulton County election workers and volunteers involved in the 2020 election.
And again, that's something else we're going to get into in another video, that there's been a lot of pushback about that, specifically when it comes to certain officials within Fulton County. They do not want this to happen. They think it's threatening
Do you
democracy.
really think there's going to be an employee that isn't willing to rat on you? It's inevitable. That's why you want to hurry and quash the subpoena.
Yep, there it is.
So much so that you have abandoned proper legal policy and procedure again, and just went ahead and started hiring lawyers without a board vote again, and hired the same
15
expensive
seconds.
failed lawyers, Norm Eisen and Abby Lowell.
Yeah, they're getting cooked right now.
We are just,
Time.
thank you, thank you.
Dang, that's tough. He paused too long. And again, guys, don't forget, before we get into LA Pink, this woman that's actually on the board still has yet to be reseated, along with Jason Frazier, who has yet to get his seat on the registrations and election board, because again, a lot of politics going on behind the scenes there with not wanting these two to be on the Fulton County elections board, and the board of registrations and election fighting, saying that they don't actually have to allow them to be there. It says they shall, meaning at one time in the future, not necessarily right away. And that's what the court is fighting about, and they're going back and forth about in court. Now, let's hear what LA Pink has to say, because you know she's always got something to say when it comes to this board and the Board of Commissions as well.
Well, no need to mimic what she said, because I'm pretty sure it was clear that you guys are committing crimes. The sheriff's election by itself, if you all have not checked into it, we all know that he did not win at 100%, but through you guys' numbers that appear online, it's 100%. Well, we know that he didn't have an surety bond on December 10th when he swore in. He swore in on December the 10th. The surety bond wasn't clear until December the 25th. But as we watched with Tiffany Henry's occlusion that you guys are, eruption, I don't know what to really call it, that you guys just installed her in. Whether if it's Democrat or Republican, I would give a care less. Corruption is corruption. And you guys have allowed corruption to be too comfortable here in the Fulton County. And it's time for it to end. You guys have allowed her to come in, regardless of a Republican or a Democrat. This is an installment in a crime that you're helping commit. Now, we're bringing it here to you to let you know that you are now becoming a part of a crime. Because when you allowed her to come in on the day that you accepted that fake lease, allegedly, you better go do your research. You should have did that while she was sitting up here saying y'all messed up on the email. I mean, y'all just can't get it together, can you? You just cannot get it together. You guys are exposing yourself in front of everybody every day. Every day you're making yourself
15 seconds.
Since you're always saying, oh, it's, it's conspiracy, it's this, it's that, it's everything but yourself. The Democratic Party have shown us that you are part of the problem, and we will take every last one of your jobs.
Time.
Oh, they don't like the clapping.
Let's have decorum. We won't clap or yell or cheer or boo anyone. Thank you.
Good morning. The new daily courier policy, where
hilarious.
every ballot is picked up every day, then brought to the hub, is logically flawed. The Elections Department claims this prevents fire loss,
Yeah.
but the statistical risk of a transit accident is exponentially higher than any polling place fire. Furthermore, centralizing all the ballots into one warehouse creates a single point of failure. One event could now destroy every ballot in the county before they can be legally tabulated. Why are we spending tax dollars to increase risk and invite suspicion of premature tabulation?
That's fair.
Chair Allen's surprise regarding Tiffany Hayward's dual voter registration
Tiffany
is
Henyard.
concerning. We have warned the board on this for years. Thousands of double registrations exist across state lines. The ERIC system is not cleaning our rolls, it is inflating them. It isn't a conspiracy theory, it is a documented administrative failure. Your public comment policy is geographically discriminatory and violates the First Amendment, requiring in-person sign-ups 15 minutes prior while banning Zoom comments disenfranchises rural and handicapped citizens. The bottom line, between the courier costs and suppression of public voice, I have to ask, what are you afraid of? Give the citizens their 2 minutes. Thank you.
Janet Hill?
They said no clapping. They're about to get mad.
Susan Somak, Iman Arendad, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, and Ralph O'Connor. You may speak, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Susan Somak. I'm a Fulton County resident, and I'm also here representing the Georgia Coalition for the People's Agenda. I'm here, People's Agenda is a 30-year civil rights organization founded by the Reverend Dr. Joseph Lowery. It's one of the oldest civil rights organizations in Atlanta. I just want to commend this board and what Fulton County has done to take all legal means necessary to protect the vote, to protect voter records, and to protect the very valued staff. We really support you in every way in that respect. We think it's extremely important to protect the voting rights of our state and our county. On a
I want to know how you guys feel about this. We've talked about it in several videos. When it comes to this motion to quash by the Board of Registrations and Elections, they really do not want the information of the poll workers, the information of the election officials to be released to the FBI. We know the FBI and the Department of Justice are trying to key in on people who were involved in the 2020 election. Now we're hearing that some people are saying that they're happy that the Board of Registrations and Elections in Fulton County, even the Board of Commissioners, is fighting against giving that information over to the Department of Justice. And then we have other people who seemingly say, no, give them the information they need to conduct the investigation. I tend to fall on the latter, which I believe that they should just give them the information. The Department of Justice should be and could easily get to that if they needed to. But seeing exactly who was involved and how they were involved makes sense to me. And I don't think just because you worked in an election role during that time that you would be afraid that something would happen, especially if you did your job. There's only a certain amount of people who are worried about this being an issue. And it's not people who are protecting others. It's people who are protecting themselves.
personal note, I'm a Fulton County resident. I've moved here in 1997. I've been here going on my 29th year as a voter. I voted directly, in person, in my precinct. I voted in absentee. I voted during COVID. Absentee as well. Prior to that, I had voted in many different states, several states I'd lived in during school and as an adult, early in my adulthood, as well as serving overseas as an election supervisor and monitor in Bosnia and Kosovo and Namibia. And I can say hands down that I've never had a problem in Fulton County as a voter. I find it's fast and efficient. And when it has been slowed down, it's primarily has been due to some types of voter suppression or an overloading of the system through various occurrences based on voter interest. And so I just commend you in the work you're doing. It's not an easy task to be the largest jurisdiction in the state of Georgia and having the largest number of voters. And I think the staff in particular has done it with grace under tremendous pressure, political pressure. And again, reminding everyone of Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution. Voting is inherently a state issue and should be handled by states and counties. Thank you very much.
Okay, well then let them handle it. And then how do you handle mismanagement? Would be my question.
Hi everyone, my name is Iman Emdad. I'm speaking to you today as a Fulton County resident and someone who has been in Fulton County for 13 years. I moved to Georgia when I was 12, and when I moved here, I moved to Fulton County. I'm proud to say that I've voted in Fulton County ever since I was eligible to vote, and I voted in every election that I've been eligible for. I voted for presidential candidates, I voted for gubernatorial candidates, or I hope to in this coming year. And I am really excited to say that, I'm thankful for the work that this board does tirelessly in navigating federal, state, and local laws. I think it's commendable work that this board is doing to navigate different things from all of the different implications of the Louisiana versus Calais decision, and also like the things that are going on at the state level with how our elections are conducted. I think that I wanted to commend you for doing such an excellent job navigating these various political, legal, and policy challenges, because it's not easy and there's a lot of complicated rules. I just wanted to affirm that I have been voting in Fulton County for some time, and that I've always felt like my rights as a voter have been successfully protected, and in no small part to folks like you. So thank you.
Seems like a lot of people appreciate what the Board of Registrations and Elections is doing.
Good morning. My name is Ralph O'Connor. I'm a Fulton County voter, Election Day poll clerk, and deputy registrar. I'd like to publicly thank Laverne Morris of the department's absentee ballot team for helping me solve some technical problems with my absentee ballot application. Last month, I filled out the form on the state's portal, printed it out, signed it, scanned it, emailed it to Fulton County. Ms. Moss emailed me almost immediately to say they could not open the file that I had scanned in. She emailed me a second time when I had rescanned it, and my signature was cut off. And then a third time, when I finally got it right, printed it to PDF with the shrink to fit option. And another request for everybody who's watching. As of yesterday, the state election data hub showed Fulton County had 1,800 absentee ballots outstanding. Statewide, there are over 20,000 ballots outstanding out of 43,000 issued. It's probably too late to mail an absentee ballot, but if you have immediate family members who have not mailed their ballot in, you can still hand deliver it today or tomorrow to a ballot drop box or an election office. On election day, a voter, not a family member, can hand deliver, surrender the absentee ballot, have it voided, and vote in person at their assigned voting place. Even if they can't find their ballot, they can sign an affidavit they have not voted already. Poll manager can verify with that with the county and have their absentee ballot canceled, and they can vote normally. Thank you.
We have three additional, apparently staff hadn't brought them up yet. Earl Ferguson, Brittany Burns, and Maya Peters.
Turn that man's mic on.
Mr. Ferguson, we can't hear you yet. If you could start over and then maybe speak a little louder. It's not on. Just a minute, Mr. Ferguson. It's not you. It's not capturing you yet.
We got some typical Fulton County audio issues.
Not yet.
Let me skip ahead through
Our
this.
apologies, Mr. Ferguson. So
Registered voter in Fulton County, and I'm here to address the public comment policy that was just made available for review. I'm not aware of any policy like that in any other agency where I speak, and I wonder, first, is there a review policy by the county on such things? Because it's kind of lengthy and detailed. The one thing that bothers me about it is that it delays the time, or it shortens the time that you have to sign up when at the beginning of the meeting.
I feel like I can't skip him now.
On time today. Had it been in effect, I wouldn't have been able to speak because it says it's have to be here for 15 minutes. And I'd ask you to please eliminate that section. Thank you very much.
I couldn't skip him after he said that. They got to give this man his voice.
My name is Brittany, and I'm a part of the Elections Protection United of Georgia Coalition. So as registered voters from Fulton County and beyond, we deeply value the selfless staff and volunteers who facilitate free and fair elections here and across the state. The effort by the Department of Justice to obtain personal information of these workers and volunteers is shameful. The Department of Justice shouldn't be involved in the intimidation of poll workers and the dissemination of disinformation. Continuing these lies about 2020 election further weaponizes the Department of Justice against voters. We recall the slander of poll workers by Rudy to further the 2020 elections lies, and it was wrong when Rudy did it then, and it's wrong now for the Department of Justice to misuse the legal process now to spread disinformation and endanger the lives of citizens. We call on Department of Justice to withdraw their subpoena immediately. And to the poll workers and volunteers of Fulton County, we want you to know that we deeply appreciate you and we have your back. Election Protection United of Georgia, we are volunteers, community members from a variety of organizations and backgrounds, just working together to ensure that Georgians are able to participate in and help protect free and fair elections. Thank you.
All right. So again, it seems like the county, specifically Fulton County, is torn on this one. I want to know what you all think in the comments in the chat. Is the Department of Justice in the right in wanting to find out information and get the personal information of everyone who worked during this election? Or, as this woman just said, are they wrong and do they just need to let it go? Because this is all conspiracy theory that's been disproven, according to them. Let me know what you guys think. Shout out to the gang and thank you to everybody who's in here. We got nearly 7,000 of y'all up in this thing. Who was that said we got Oprah? Was that Post that said that? What did he say? He said, "Hey E, you guys have Oprah reading the book, leading the board." Crazy. And I said I was gonna read super chats at the end, but I have to give this man some credit. Shout out to Harvey F. Davis III. My guy has put me onto so much game, so much information, and I appreciate you, man. Thank you, thank you. He says, yeah, it's public information, right? What does Mr. Harvey F. Davis say? He said, "What's up with all the suck up comments to this sorry election board? It's weird, right? It's weird. As an SME, I will tell you, Fulton County elections have been incompetent forever. Not just 2020, guys. This is a man who has been working, what is it, 3 decades, Harvey? I think it's 3+ decades, correct me if I'm wrong, in this system, and he knows what he's talking about. This is just, these statements are wrong. People in their feelings, I think a lot of them, maybe like this woman, are most likely left leaning, and they don't like this Department of Justice. They don't like this FBI. They don't like this administration. So if they see that the Board of Commissions or the Board of Registrations and Elections is saying, no, we're protecting our workers, we're not giving you their name, their last name, their phone number, and their address. Oh, that would be terrible. Really? Like, come on, guys. Do we want to settle this once or for all, or what are we even doing? Because something's not adding up. We saw the affidavit. We know there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. We've seen the videos. We've heard from many people who worked during the 2020 election, many people who have seen how the elections work here, as y'all just heard from Mr. Davis. It's not right. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate you saying that. Excuse me. Because it's important. And this is someone who's been involved in elections for a long time. That's crazy. Just let them do the investigation. I don't understand. Like, what are you guys worried about? If you did your job, if you did what you were supposed to do, excuse me, if you did what you were supposed to do, then you shouldn't have anything to worry about. I mean, they probably put more information readily available on the internet by the apps that they use versus this Department of Justice investigation. Either way, let's go ahead and get into our next topic. I appreciate y'all. To everybody who's in here, y'all, please make sure you like the video. Likes are free. All right, guys. It takes less than a second to do. Lets the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show. Shares the video with more people. So thank you again to Harvey. And actually, I need to, for some reason, you can't see your whole comment on the screen. So I got to fix that. Let me see if I can fix it. There we go. All right. And we actually had another super chat too. Let me read this one real quick, and then I'll let y'all go. Thank you for the 5 bomb. Shout out to Mountain Goddess 314 says, look at Mark Elias and how he changed the election process without any authority to do so ahead of the 2020 elections. I mean, we could get into so much more. And thank you so much for that super chat, Mountain Goddess. We could point out so many other conversations. I mean, we could even talk about, when we talk about the maps, what happened with the maps right before certain elections. We could talk about several people who were involved in the elections, whether that be, I mean, that's 1000% right though. And we actually need to do a video on Mark Elias, because I keep seeing that name come up, and we've been, yeah, it needs to happen. And then also Mountain Goddess says, heck yes, the feds should take a look into all the fraud claims. Too many anomalies. Yep. And then they need to show the meeting in Cobb County Precinct interrogation room with Shay, Ruby, Harrison, and Travion. Yeah. Ruby Freeman. We're going to be talking about her soon. And I'm sure that's one of the names that the Department of Justice is looking into. Thank y'all for the super chats. We'll be reading some more here shortly. We got to go ahead and get into this next topic and talk about this mayor out in California who pleading guilty to some insane charges. Let's get into it. So let me double check and make sure we're good. And we're going to talk about Miss Eileen up in here, Miss Eileen Wang. All right, here we go. We're good. So we've got to talk about the former mayor of California, who is facing some serious time in prison because allegedly she is a spy for the Chinese government. And she became the mayor. This whole conversation situation gets crazy. We're going to break it down for you. I'll give you guys a brief overview of what happened in this case, and then we'll actually get into the legal details of what happened with her and what happened with some people who were close to her as well. Check this out from CBS News.
The mayor of Arcadia, California, faces 10 years in federal prison. This is after she agreed to plead guilty to acting as an illegal agent of China on Monday. Now, Eileen Wang admitted in her plea agreement that she worked with her former fiancé to push pro-Chinese propaganda through the website U.S. News Center. CBS News Los Angeles reporter Tina Patel has the latest.
Eileen Wang's former fiancé is already serving time for being a covert agent. Now we've learned she was also working for the People's Republic of China. The mayor appeared in federal court yesterday, and she agreed to plead guilty to one federal count of secretly working to illegally promote the interest of China. Now, federal prosecutors say Wang and her former fiancé, Mike Sun, posted Communist Party propaganda on a website they ran called U.S. News that was supposed to be a news website for the Chinese American community and Chinese expats. Wang's attorney says this conduct ceased before she was sworn into office in 2022. And Arcadia city manager told us in a statement that an internal review shows no city finances, staff, or decision-making processes were involved. Still, federal prosecutors say this is a serious case. It might be the first time a U.S. mayor has been charged with acting as a covert agent for a foreign government. Wang is now facing a possible sentence of 10 years in prison.
Insane.
These are all things where transparency is paramount, and the campaign that China is engaging in enlisting agents here who are not acting overtly, really undermines our national security, and it undermines the democratic fabric of our society.
But how did she get in that position in the first place?
After resigning as mayor, Wang's attorney sent us a statement saying, in part, events in Miss Wang's personal life, including her trust and love for apparently the wrong person who ultimately led her astray, require her to step away from public service.
She's
now,
a victim,
Arcadia's
guys.
next city council meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday, and at that time, a new mayor and mayor pro tem will be chosen from the remaining city council members.
Good Lord. So I think the interesting thing about this is that it was able to go on for this long. And Mountain Goddess even said in the chat that I'm from Southern California and the city of Arcadia is 64% Asian, which again, it would make sense how this could happen, how this could go on. And considering we would have to look at the county and see how the county voted and how this happened as well. But still an amazing situation that we're going to get into, especially considering her fiance is now being somewhat blamed for this entire debacle that she's in. So what happened? NBC News says this: racial backlash erupts online after California mayor admits to being an agent for China. Arcadia Mayor Eileen Wang admitted to federal law enforcement that she secretly served the interests of the Chinese government, and she was probably proud to go to jail in that case. The resignation of Southern California mayor who pleaded guilty to acting as a foreign agent for China has sparked backlash and reignited fears of anti-Asian discrimination. Early this week, Eileen Wang, 58, admitted to federal law enforcement that she secretly served the interests of the Chinese government, according to the FBI. She agreed to plead guilty to a single count of acting as an illegal agent of a foreign government and resigned as mayor of Arcadia, a predominantly Asian city, as we just talked about, in the San Gabriel Valley east of Los Angeles. Political figures, including Bernadette Breslin, a spokesperson for the National Republican Senatorial Committee, said the indictment was another example of Chinese-led plans to weaken the United States from within. It's wild. But racist comments began to appear on social media feeds soon after the FBI Director Kash Patel announced on X that the case was coming against Wang. Many replies to Patel's post announcing the charges suggest investigating other prominent Asian American women, political figures. Others suggest a violent punishment for her. Now, again, we look into the Ilhan Omar situation. That's something that, again, is put at the forefront. I don't think it's a predominantly a Asian American women thing, But if you look at certain situations that are going on, it seems to be a theme. But again, I mean, you could look at politics in general, right? And you could point out we've seen other politicians who've had issues. So is it an Asian American woman thing? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Advocates said they are concerned that this rhetoric is a part of a long history of fear and discrimination that has proliferated for generations in regards to Asian communities, especially Chinese immigrants. Experts who spoke to NBC News said Asian people in the U.S. are often treated as perpetual outsiders, which can motivate violence in some cases, which is very true. The charges against Wang, let's get into it. Wang, who was elected to the Arcadia City Council in 2022, became the mayor in February of this year. She resigned Monday, according to the city's website, the same day she was formally charged in the case. According to federal officials, Wang was at one point involved in a media platform that she once operated with someone whom she believed to be her fiance. What? Someone who she believed to be her fiance. What does that even mean? The fiance was, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. He goes by Mike. Pled guilty on the same charge in October and is currently serving a 4-year sentence in federal prison. What does this mean? Y'all have to let me know in the chat. She was operating a media platform with someone she believed to be her fiance. Okay. Anyway, prosecutors said that the pair promoted propaganda for the People's Republic of China through a website called U.S. News Center. The FBI described the site as being geared towards Chinese Americans living in the area. Wang and Son executed, or Mike, as we'll call him, directives from the PRC representatives and sometimes sought permission from Chinese government officials to post content, Wang's plea agreement said in the document. Although the charges were filed this week, Wang's name has been associated with the allegations for years. The LA Times wrote in 2024 that Chinese government officials had asked her for information on Wang while she actively campaigned in Arcadia. At the time, those officials described her as a new political star in a criminal complaint filed against Son, but there was no information connecting her to the propaganda posting at the time, the LA Times reported. So Son is Mike. So basically, people were looking into Mike and trying to figure out what he had going on. And then there was an obvious connection to Mrs. Wang there. In an emailed statement to NBC News, Chu said her recognition of Wang happened before the allegations were made public. Chu said she was shocked and disappointed by the case against Wang. Chu also pushed back against the anti-Asian sentiment that quickly began to circulate online and in some media outlets. The Asian American community has already weathered stigma, prejudice, and violence fueled by rhetoric from President Trump and his administration. The statement read in part, "We saw this in the violent anti-Asian hate crimes during COVID-19 and the unfair targeting of scholars on Chinese descent in Trump's China Initiative program, both of which I have fought against in Congress." Wang's attorneys have said her political career in Arcadia stands completely separate from the charge against her. Arcadia, do y'all feel that way? Are you good with this? Is it not connected at all? She apologizes and is sorry for the mistakes she made in her personal life. Her attorney said her love and devotion for the Arcadia community has not changed and did not waver. And maybe that's because 64% of them are Asian. I have no idea. Y'all have to let me know what you think about this in the comments in the chat. It's interesting to see that Mike only got 4 years in federal prison on this. Is this enough to stop them from doing this? Is this a part of the learning process to maybe see how China can do this a little bit more smarter the next way? Let me know what you guys think. Well, I have to read y'all's comments on this, but before I do, shout out again to Mr. Harvey F. Davis III talking about how Rob Pitts is spending our money. He said, how much has Rob spent avoiding scrutiny in 2008? LA Pink even said it. They're hiring these attorneys that have already been failing and have actually just been getting destroyed by the Department of Justice in a lot of these cases after losing fight after fight after fight. Just let it go, man. Let them do their investigation. There is in my opinion, a small majority of people that think this isn't the right direction to go. And from what I've heard from a lot of people in Fulton County, you guys have seen on this channel, people want an investigation. They want it done the right way. And they want to know what exactly happened in the 2020 election, because the Secretary of State's office here in Georgia has not been honest. They haven't been transparent, and they haven't done things the right way. And we've seen that even from the affidavit we saw from the Department of Justice at the beginning. So it'll be interesting to see too. The Baltimore mayor is an immigrant? Really? I did not know that. Where is he from? Newsom's probably giving our tax money to Wang. Oh gosh, I hope not, man. What's the mayor of Baltimore? Because we talked about him on the channel. Is that the one that was throwing parties for people with y'all's money? What is his name? I cannot remember. Is it us? Brandon Scott. There it is. Where is he from? I got to figure out this now. Let's see. Where is Brandon Scott from? That's crazy. Brandon Scott, Baltimore, Maryland. He was born April. I think he's from here. It says he's an American politician. So y'all might be talking about somebody else. Either way, this entire situation is crazy. Thank y'all for the super chats. I will be reading some more super chats as we go throughout the show as well. So thank you, Harvey, for that one. If you guys haven't yet, please like the video. I'm going to continue to beg. You know why? Because likes are free. Helps us out a lot. There's 1,200 of you guys in the building. Maybe we should do afternoon live streams more often. I appreciate every single one of y'all that are watching. Let's go ahead and talk about this man, Mr. Alex Murdaugh. This is going to be an interesting one because there's been a lot of controversy surrounding this man and what he has going on. So we're going to talk about it here. We're finally getting a chance to hear from Alex Murdaugh's attorneys when it comes to how they're going to be handling his defense if it comes to a retrial. And we talked about this in the last video. We covered the Murdaugh situation, and he may not even face trial again, which is interesting considering that his wife and his son were killed allegedly. We have to say allegedly now, allegedly by him, but he's saying it wasn't him. These charges might get dropped because, as we've already heard, the DA's office could decide not to charge him or not to continue to go to trial again. One, because it's going to cost the taxpayers money. Two, because he's already going to be in prison for, I believe it's 90 something years just on the federal charges alone. So they feel like there's no point, but we're actually going to get to hear from his attorneys. Should he choose, or should the DA's office choose to go through with this trial again, and find out what they have to say. Now listen to this. Attorneys Dick Hart, I'm going to mess up his name, Dick H. and Jim Griffin were on the Today Show this morning. They shared that Alex Murdaugh is unable to pay them this time around. I can imagine. Murdaugh allegedly has no money. They say, we're doing it. We're not getting paid, but we're going to see it through. That is going to be interesting to see if this plays out. Let's go ahead and hear from these two and see what they have to say about their client.
With us now exclusively this morning, attorneys Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin, who lead Alec Murdaugh's defense team. Gentlemen, good morning.
Nice.
Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Good morning, Craig.
I know that you talked to Alec yesterday. What was your client's response to the decision?
Yeah, Craig, we had told him that the argument went very, very well. We were very hopeful in the result. He didn't believe that it could be possible. And then yesterday, he was very gracious, thankful. And he said, Jim, I'm seeing, I'm reading it, and it's still hard to believe. But he's glad to get that moniker off of him as a convicted murderer of his wife and son. No doubt about that.
Dick, you said a few months ago when you were here, you said that you were confident that he would have, quote, a fair shot at acquittal if there was a retrial. What makes both of you so confident?
Well, I think that everyone says, well, the jury convicted him so quickly, evidence was overwhelming. If you take away all those financial crime, prejudicial, victims testifying, the Supreme Court talked about that yesterday. You've got no forensic evidence, no fingerprints, no eyewitness, no confession, no video. The only thing they have is this, he lied about where he was.
The Snapchat video.
Right. Other than that, the motive is paper thin, and maybe it's better to understand what they don't have. That's why they went all in on that financial crime stuff. And of course, we know this jury was lobbied by the clerk of court to convict. So I think a retrial is going to result with a fair jury. I think gives him a chance for acquittal.
I remember several years ago, you both talked about this investigation that you were starting to coincide with the actual law enforcement investigation. This investigation, I assume, has been going on for several years now. Has it yielded any new leads? Is there a new working theory about if it was not Alec, who it could have been?
We do have information that's been provided to us.
Since the trial?
Since the trial. There frankly, a lot of people out there who believe in Alec's innocence, who continue to work and provide us information. But
what kind of information?
Well, potential third parties and potential motives, and we can't disclose it here right now, and don't intend to.
And a lot of people had said during this trial, before this trial, and even after, that they believe Alex Murdaugh was set up. They were saying he knew too much about what was going on inside the state of South Carolina, specifically in his city, maybe some issues with local law enforcement, and they believe that this man is innocent. So again, we might get to see this play out another go around. It'll be interesting to see.
Can you characterize the nature of it? I mean, are we talking text messages? Are we talking?
I can't characterize the nature of it, Craig.
And by the way, I wish we could talk about it, but I think this reversal is going to give us much more access to that information. Either these folks that were hesitant to tell everything will come forward and tell us that, but more importantly, we now have the power of subpoena. We have the power to investigate this using the legal process.
It's going to be tough to find a jury too, because again, South Carolina, especially what was going on during this trial, very small, and especially the county that they were in, very small county as well. Everybody knows what was going on in this case. They're going to know that he was found guilty, and then the case got dismissed because of this clerk. They're going to see the things going on. So I don't know how in the world they're going to be able to find a jury in this case.
The reality is he's still going to spend a few decades in prison on the financial crimes.
Absolutely.
Is there a school of thought in which either of you think that a jury might be more willing to not convict him this time around, knowing that he is going to spend 20, 25 years in prison?
It's possible.
I mean, I don't adhere to that school of thought. I mean, frankly, it will not technically, legally be before a jury. I mean, they won't know, but, as a practical matter, in the back of their mind, they probably will. And so
they'll know.
But I will tell you this, on a retrial, the statistics are in the favor of a defendant because you have a lot more recorded testimony of witnesses. You get to impeach them with inconsistencies, and so it'll be a totally different trial, I promise you.
A number of the jurors after the trial said that they thought Alec taking the stand was a mistake, that it hurt him. If in a retrial, does he take the stand again?
Everybody misunderstands. We don't tell a defendant to take the stand or not. We give them advice, especially when your client is a lawyer. They're going to make that independent judgment. So the guy that can answer that question isn't here this morning.
But I do want to point this out. That jury was tampered with. That jury was told, don't believe Alec before he got on the stand in so many words. And so the jurors came out saying, we didn't believe him, but they were coached to not believe him. And as the Supreme Court said, Becky Hill put her finger on the scale of justice and impacted the result of that trial.
The state has indicated they want to retry him quickly. If there's an about face and the state says, we're willing to offer a plea deal, we don't want to go through this again, we want to save the taxpayers.
No plea.
You're not going to take a plea under any circumstances?
Under any circumstances.
He will never
plead guilty.
Killing his wife and son, I promise you.
That doesn't make any sense. But speaking specifically to the family dynamic in this, something interesting happened with his oldest son, or his only remaining son, Buster, in this case, when it comes to what's happening with this case being thrown out and now him possibly looking at another trial. Check this out from Court TV. They say Buster supports his dad and named his son after him. Alex Murdaugh's defense team reveals. This is interesting. A disgraced attorney, Alex Murdaugh, celebrates overturning of his conviction. One of the biggest supporters remains his surviving son, Buster. Alex Murdaugh, 57, was found guilty and sentenced to 2 life terms for the murders of his wife, Maggie, and the couple's younger son, Paul. The sentence and 2 convictions were overturned earlier this week by the South Carolina Supreme Court after the justices found that Fulton County Clerk of Court Becky Hill had tampered with the jury. Alex Murdaugh's defense attorney, Dick H., said his client was shocked that to hear he won a new trial. He said, I read the opinion. I hear what you say. I still don't believe it. He also said and told Court TV that Alex clearly thought from the beginning of this case it would never be reversed. he was very pessimistic, and he's an attorney, so he probably could see the probability of this playing out this way. Even though his father was convicted of the murder of his mother and brother, Buster Murdaugh remains a steadfast source of support. Isn't that crazy? They're very affable, he says. They have a great relationship, and Buster frequently talks to and visits his father. Buster recently got married and had a child. Alex's attorney said that the child was named after Alex Murdaugh. I say they've gotten pretty good in their relationship. Wow. Now both the state and Alex Murdaugh's defense have turned their attention toward a retrial. Alex Murdaugh's attorney revealed that the first trial cost the defense nearly $600,000. This time around, neither him nor his counsel, Jim Griffin, will be taking more money from the Murdaugh family. When he hired us, he had money, and we got paid a significant fee, he said. We get hired on a criminal case, we get paid a flat fee, and that case ain't over till it's over. Hey, respect to the attorneys, man, standing on business. Also, they say this, Wilson suggested that they would have liked to see a retrial happen by the end of the year, but that's impossible. That was a political statement, not a legal statement, he says, noting that Wilson is running for governor and his election is scheduled to take place in 3 weeks. If they're in a hurry to try this case, then what they ought to do is agree with us. The venue ought to be changed and work with us to find a venue that works for both of us. Again, guys, I said this at the beginning. I don't know how in the world they're going to find a jury for this. South Carolina, it's not that big. And where this went down, in the county that it went down, everybody knows what happened. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Let me know what you guys think about Alex Murdaugh. If you watched this trial at the beginning, do you believe he's guilty? Do you believe he's innocent? And interesting to hear as a note that his son's still there supporting after people were so adamant that he was the one that killed his wife and his son. Let me know what you think in the comments in the chat. Y'all are amazing, man. We've still, oh my goodness, got 1,200 of y'all in the building. Thank you to everybody who's in here. I will be reading super chats here shortly. So thank y'all for sending in the love. My goodness. It's a sad, very sad situation. I agree. Very sad situation. And I mean, if he didn't do it, that's even crazier. So we'll have to see how this trial plays out. I'm definitely going to follow the trial more closely on this next go round if we get to that. Shout out to Mountain Goddess. Oh my goodness, dropping the 10 bomb. Thank you for the support. What does she say? With the 10 bomb says, DI Shield can't criticize or do any oversight. Otherwise, you are racist, as they say. We can all see it. Come on. Listen, man. Listen. I do not care. And maybe I have a little bit of a, what should I call it? Because I am a black man, there's certain things that I can say that other people would get away with saying, but we got to put that aside and actually look objectively. If we're seeing a pattern, point it out. If you want to call it stereotyping, fine. But if it keeps happening, and if we keep seeing this, and if we have certain immigrants that are participating in certain activity, then we got to call it out. If we see certain Americans that are participating in certain activities, we got to call it out too. So again, I think the fact of saying that, oh, this is just going to hurt the Asian American community. No, I think maybe if anything, people are going to do more of their research. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. If anything, people are going to do more research and say, you know what? Maybe I need to look into this election better and see what's out there. Cause I don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, my opinion is going to be that if this causes people to wake up and understand that they need to know who they're putting in office, then I'm all for it. So we got to do what we got to do. I know. Shout out to Post. He said, wait, you're a black man? I know. It's crazy. Thank you to Amy reminding y'all to like the video. I know people forget sometimes. I got to remind them. I love it. And I mean, if there's nothing there, there's nothing there. You did your research and you found out. But I don't know. Just call me naive. I think depending on where you are in the country, maybe somebody would look at a Eileen Wang and say, ugh, look at that Asian American woman. I'm not voting for her. I don't know what she got on. She's probably a spy for China. What? Which, I mean, in this case, they would be right. But I don't know. California seems progressive enough that would make a difference. We'll have to wait and see. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, shout out to the number one black man. I'll be y'all's number one black man. All right, let's keep it moving. We got to get into this next topic, and we're going back into this data center. Guys, did I just miss this data center conversation wave? Because ever since we talked about this on, what's today? Friday? I think the first time we talked about it was Wednesday or Thursday. I have just seen a flood of information about what is going on with this data center crisis across the nation. It's absolutely insane to see this play out. And we're going to talk about, we talked about what's happening in Georgia, and we're going to get back into that in a second, but we got to talk specifically about something that's going on in other states across the nation. So this data center thing is a lot bigger than I had anticipated. The data center issue, the AI issue, people are really having a big problem with, and it's not only affecting Georgia, it's affecting many states throughout the nation. We're going to talk about New Jersey here. We're going to talk about a couple other states that are really being affected by so many of the infrastructure and the people who are in charge of the budget wanting these data centers to be built as a way to bring in more jobs, as a way to maybe appease certain people that were involved in certain aspects of government. And a lot of people are not standing for it because it's affecting them. Their land's being taken. A lot of these power lines that are going to be used to power these data centers are having to be pushed right through some people's backyards, and they don't want it. Check out this talking about what's going on in New Jersey, and actually some people in New Jersey who were able to fight against a data center that was being built and found a way to get it stopped. Listen to this.
A number of towns in New Jersey are fighting back against plans to build AI data centers. Welcome back to the 5 o'clock news. I'm Natasha Verma.
And I'm Steve Lacey. A high-stakes battle over the future of our digital infrastructure is dividing local communities.
Yeah, plans to build massive data centers in at least 2 New Jersey towns are triggering radically different outcomes. Fox 8's Teresa Priello reports.
You've heard of opposition to data centers in our area, especially around New Jersey. But have you ever seen this? Chaos and cursing at the Andover, New Jersey planning meeting over a proposed AI data center. It got so bad, the mayor announced he's not only repealing the original ordinance, he's banning any future data centers from being built.
Shout out to the mayor.
Accordingly, the committee has directed the township attorney to draft an ordinance repealing data centers as a permitted use within the Route 206 Economic Development Zone and Redevelopment Plan.
Shout out to the mayor for standing on business. I don't know that he's going to be in that position long, because again, we know and we have seen how the powers that be work, and if they want to get something done, they're going to find a way. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Within the Route 206 Economic Development Zone and Redevelopment Plan.
There were fewer curse words, but just as much opposition to a data center being built here in tiny Kenilworth, New Jersey. Back in May 2025, the planning board approved a $1.8 billion AI data center. It's going to be right here at 2000 Galloping Hill Road. It has been reported that it's going to use as much energy as roughly 200,000 homes.
You know, I'm not an AI guy. I'm kind of afraid of it. So I wish all this would kind of stop.
I work at a hospital, and all the patients tell me they're concerned about it.
Livingston-based CoreWeave will occupy the space. They purchased part of the property for $320 million and received a $250 million tax break in return. The issue came to a head at the last council meeting.
Why does a company, a multinational private equity-backed company, deserve $250 million of handouts when the community is going to get zero benefit?
And again, that's something that happened here in Georgia. And we've even seen the president of the United States in a lot of ways try to limit the control in this issue, because incentivizing these companies to come in and work against certain communities, not the great way to go.
$1 billion of handouts when the community is going to get zero benefit.
The council told residents that it was done by the state legislature and former Governor Murphy's office. But it's not just about electricity and tax breaks. There's also concern over groundwater and electronic waste. In a Facebook post, the mayor framed this as a financial opportunity to chart a new course for Kenilworth. Quote, the project represents more than redevelopment. It is a renewal of opportunity. Our community should take great pride in turning a potential loss into a meaningful and lasting success for Kenilworth. Currently, over 8,000 people have signed a petition to stop it. In Kenilworth, New Jersey, Teresa Priolo, Fox 5 News.
All right, so let's actually hear and see some video from what happened in New Jersey. And again, you guys are talking about it in the chat as well. We've actually seen in Georgia a lot of incentives that are being presented and being given to these companies to move in, to build these data centers. And they're being given tax breaks to build these data centers as well, along with all the other shenanigans that they're participating in. Check this out. A data center in New Jersey was canceled when residents showed up and fought it. This is actually amazing to see.
They canceled it!
Say what?
They canceled it!
That's amazing.
United will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated. This is what it looks like when people stand up. We are going to be fighting against data centers everywhere in New Jersey. Each and every one of you again. And we say a big fuck you to big tech. We say a big fuck you to private equity. And it's time to build communities, not data centers. We're here today because there's a proposed data center popping up here in New Brunswick. There are hundreds of concerned residents showing up. People are fired up. They do not want big tech in their community. They do not want these data centers popping up in black and brown majority neighborhoods. It is done like that for a reason. These billionaires and financiers at AMZAC Capital Management know exactly what they're doing because they are doing it everywhere. So we are asking the city council tonight to do the fucking right thing and stop this data center from moving forward. No! 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 Energy rates have gone up by 20 to 30%. 70% of that is being caused by data centers built in the PJM region, okay? Water bills, right? New Brunswick residents know water bills doubled in 2025 to handle the infrastructure. It's gonna go up another $10 on water and sewer this year. So this project is gonna raise bills for your energy and for your water.
Yeah, no wonder Elon Musk is trying to get on Mars, because he's saying, hey, y'all better get ready because AI is coming. And we're actually going to talk about another state, not just in New Jersey. We're going to talk about Utah, and they're actually going to call out one of their local officials that maybe could have been trying to get a backdoor investment into what's happening with these data centers. Check this out from, wow. Amazing work done by the ladies over here at Fresh Hill.
So after Kevin O'Leary went on Fox News to accuse us of being operatives for the Chinese government, we did not back down on the data center. In fact, we actually dug in more. So today's Fresh Hill is that Utah Speaker of the House Mike Schultz owns 600 acres near the Stratos project site. As one normally does, we were scrolling around looking at the parcels of land that are right around the proposed data center. And wouldn't you know it, we happened upon a little parcel of land with the owner name being labeled as Mike Schultz Inc. And it doesn't take an investigative journalist to find that it is in fact owned by the Utah Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz. And these two combined parcels of land total up to about 640 acres. And that 640 acres is just about 3 miles away from the Stratos project site, right next to the freeway interchange. Huh.
Wow.
Coincidence?
So like any normal person does, you go to the Box Elder County Recorder's office and you pay $1.50 and you can get the deed for that land. And wouldn't you know it, what? This piece of property Mike Schultz bought on January 3rd of 2025. And then to put the cherry on top, all of this land he bought for, quote, $10 and other good and valuable consideration. Apparently this is like a legal term, the $10 and other good and valuable consideration that people use because in Utah, you don't have to disclose how much you bought this property for. So people put $10 because it satisfies what is legally required without having to disclose exactly what they paid for it, if anything. We are not saying that Speaker of the House Mike Schultz bought this because he knew that there was a data center project coming. In a recent interview, he said that he only found out about this project in April with everyone else. But what we are saying is it is a pretty big coincidence that he owns this much land right next to this data site that he bought last January. He calls himself a farmer and a rancher. But what you might not know is that before he was a farmer and a rancher, he was a developer. Mike Schultz is also a millionaire, and his most recent conflict of interest disclosures list 25 business entities, all of those ranging from hotels in Hawaii to real estate to apartment buildings to his private plane. So Mike Schultz does own some farming and ranching land near Hooper. Said correct. We're not Chinese operatives. But his businesses operate from Davis to Box Elder County. And for a man who has 30 years of development experience, he might be exactly the right person to look at 640 acres of land right near a project like this and know exactly how much that land is going to appreciate in the next few years.
So after learning all of this, we decided to look at some other places around the country where they have built data centers and what the land value around the data centers have grown to. So according to Land App, land value around data centers has increased between 2 and 4 times its agricultural value. And an organization called CBRE has said that the land around the data center in Loudoun County, Virginia, has increased 16 times compared to the next property value. There are developers that are offering people $4.4 million an acre around other data centers in the United States. Now, we know that Box Elder County is different from Loudoun County, Virginia, or any of these other places, and we are not saying, again, that Mike Schultz bought this property because he knew about this thing that was happening and he knew how much the property value would increase, and he happens to own all of these development companies and construction companies. But these questions have not been asked on the public record. We are not in a position to answer those questions, but we encourage other people to try and get answers to those questions.
Now, Mike Schultz is not the only Utah legislator that happens to own property very close to the Stratos Data Center project. Senator Scott Sandel also owns a large amount of land about 3 to 4 miles away from the project. Now, Sandel said on the record that he hasn't been approached about selling his land yet, but he might sell it for the right price. And Senator Sandel just happens to be the same Senator Sandel that sponsored SB 132 during the 2025 legislative session. This was the bill that made this Stratos data center possible. What are the chances? All state legislators have to fill out a conflict of interest form every single year, but Mike Schultz Inc. he lists as a holding company. Now, by Utah law, he is not required to say what that holding company owns. There is an optional section of the conflict of interest form, item 6A, where they have the option to disclose if they have investments that might lead to a conflict of interest. Mike Schultz has left this section blank on every single one of his conflict of interest disclosures. Under Utah law, which Mike Schultz and Senator Scott Sandel have helped to create, all of this is completely legal. Ethical?
So if Kevin O'Leary can go on national Fox News and accuse us of being Chinese operatives and ask to audit our books, I think that we should propose some audits of our own. Maybe the timing of all of the meetings that Kevin O'Leary had with state leaders, there are contradicting reports, an audit of the deed and the $10 that Mike Schultz spent, plus his other good and valuable considerations to buy these 2 parcels of land. Should be auditing the holding companies and disclosure forms laws around our Utah legislators. Maybe we should audit the people who stand to benefit from a project like this and how much their messaging has changed given the public pushback. Because this is a continued pattern that we see in Utah where people in power and people with money are continuing to get more power and more money off the backs of everyday Utahns and destroying our environment while they're at it. If you want to see the full documentation or a beautiful interactive map that Jackie made on Google Maps of where all these parcels of land exist, you can go to our Substack, go to elevateutah.news, and you can see that. And if you once again would like to buy a hat to tell Kevin O'Leary that he is an idiot and his hat sucks, you can buy one of our hats that says Utah Nature Security, and that link is in our bio. We're gonna have to
All right, shout out to them. We actually are going to get into more information about this in the next video, in the next segment. But I want you guys to really think about this. If you want to do research into the land, you can actually go to the BLM website, and let me double check and find it for you. That is going to be over here, and I'll leave it for y'all in the description as well. And you can find out from the Bureau of Land Management actually a lot of this information, what percentage of what states is owned by the federal government, what percentage is owned by the state or private citizens. And that'll give you a great insight into maybe some of the areas you can look into some movement being had. So keep that in mind as we're moving forward. Let me know what you guys think in the comments in the chat. This stuff is getting wild. I cannot believe that this whole data center thing is gone this far. It's crazy to see this. I did not think that people were going to be talking that much about it. I talked about it because I knew what was happening here in Georgia and how it was affecting us. And then come to find out, there's been a lot of people who have been involved with what's been going on with this data center. I mean, we'll call it a crisis at this point, because AI is not slowing down. And these data centers are going to keep coming. So first, let me read a couple super chats. We've got, shout out to my beautiful, awesome, amazing Amy E in there. Dropping the super sticker with the cake. Thank you, Amy. Reminding me that she's got the cakiest cake in the building and that I need to remember to eat. I will. Shout out to Amy. I appreciate you. Thank you for the love. And y'all are saying so much in the chat too. Yeah, and I mean, there is a good bit of federal land available, but is it available is the question. A lot of the western states is where the federal government holds a lot of the land. And it's a pretty decent amount of America, but you have to look at how much of that land is available. When you look at the East, not a lot. Like even if you look Connecticut and Iowa, the federal government hardly owns anything in those states at 0.3%. Rhode Island, well, I mean, it's Rhode Island, 0.5%. And then you have the highest states that the federal government owns land in. You've got Nevada, you've got Utah, Idaho, and Alaska. Nevada, 80%. Crazy. I'm sure that has a lot to do with reservations. Utah, 65 to 66%, which again, conversation that was had in this last segment we discussed. Idaho, 60 to 62%. Alaska, 60 to 61%. Why aren't they building data centers in Alaska? Just build them all out there. AI bots have their own chat rooms where they can actually talk to each other. Oh, yeah, this AI thing is out of hand. Out of hand. And it's not looking like it's going to get any better. All right, let's get into our next segment because we're actually going back to Georgia and what's going on with, this woman, Ansley Brown, has been at the forefront of what's happening with the data centers here in Georgia, and we're going to talk about it. So we reviewed a video that was done by a Georgia woman who's out there in Coweta County. We talked about Ansley Brown, and she was discussing how her mother's home is about to be taken because of what's going on with the data centers here in Georgia. Now we're hearing more information, and Ansley has been on the tear talking with people across Georgia and finding out more people who have been affected by what's going on with the data centers. So now she meets another person, Brianna, who's going to talk about her situation. And then we're actually going to see Brianna in a meeting where she presented what is happening with these data centers, and specifically Georgia Power, who are claiming in a lot of instances eminent domain and telling people, listen, we're about to take a third of your property because we need to put power lines out here. Check this out. Ansley says this: Georgia Power thinks their project is more important than American farmers. Hear Brianna's heartbreaking testimony on how Georgia Power is taking her generational cattle pasture. Listen to this.
From Coweta County, here to save my mom's house from being taken by eminent domain. I'm with Brianna. Her house is being affected by this too. Actually, not a house. It's a cow pasture. They want a quarter of her cow pasture. It appears to me
that's
that
a lot, guys.
And Georgia Power think that American farmers aren't important. Let's hear what she has to say. Okay, so again, my name is Brianna. I want to first thank Ansley for bringing me on here. Really appreciate you. No problem. So first I want to say this is my farm that's been in my family since 1988. My granddaddy bought it. He was from West Virginia. He was a coal miner. He came down here to be closer to my mom when she was a kid. So it's been a cattle farm since. I have his hat on, representing him today. First time I've ever wore it. Okay. So I have two major concerns right now that's going on here on my land. The first is project sale. I'm wearing this shirt to represent Stop Project Sale. It's a hyperscale data center that was just approved only 2 miles from here. Over 800 acres rezoned from conservation to high industrial. This is setting the tone for the future of Coweta County. There are already 2 data centers approved, Project Sale and Project Peach. Now, at least 3 more are currently in the works. We got Project Oak, Bridgeport, and what's the third one? Pegasus, and possibly 2 more being talked about, not confirmed yet. So this hyperscale data center, Project Sale, is surrounded by over 1,000 homes within a couple miles.
They're
People
fitting to
living
be
near
gone.
data centers and other areas are already reporting water issues, health concerns, house damage and problems from blasting in the construction phase, rising power costs, and depreciation in home values. The sad reality is, many cases, the only way out for homeowners becomes hoping a developer comes to your front step, knocks on that door, and wants you to sell out. That's the only way, and it shouldn't be that way. I don't want that. Does anybody else want that? Nobody here in this county wants that. So this goes hand in hand with the other issue me and Ansley are facing, the Ashley Park substation transmission line. Project Wansley. This massive power upgrade is being driven by data centers and future expansion.
And they're incentivized to do it.
Has nothing to do with Project Cell. I do want to put that on the record. As I said, I'm dealing with two separate issues driven by data centers. Data centers suck up a lot of power, so there's need for expansion. They need transmission lines for power, right? Okay. And the lines go to a substation, and the substation needs a power plant, right? I'm curious if they vote yes on more data centers here in Coweta. Are there going to be additional transmission lines ran? And if so, where? It's going to be your house next, everybody. Listen up. I'd hope they'd introduce the lines before they vote on a project that could greatly affect people like me if it were to go through residential properties. So we should not have to sell easements to utility companies to help power data centers. The data centers are privately owned and are billionaires.
And if you say no, they're going to do it anyway.
Why can't they supply their own power?
They should have to. You guys, I want to go ahead and add on just a little bit here. So everybody in Georgia will be affected by this one way or another.
That's
if
true.
you are a Georgia Power customer by force, because we don't get the choice, then you will see this come out of your pocket. You are paying for this. All of this. You are paying for what they are offering us for eminent domain. You are paying for these transmissions to be built, all of their employees that come out here and do the work, all of their machines. You are paying for it.
And at some point, data centers close to residential properties is going to push farms and agriculture families out of the town. I know I'm not going to stay here long term and be boxed in between transmission lines and data centers, but it hurts me to my core that I grew up on this land. My pawpaw was an old school farmer. I have so many memories of being here when I was a kid. He loved the land. He loved his cattle. It's sad because I thought I was doing everything right. And I feel like my goals and dreams are snatched from me.
Yeah, that's
so there
wild,
is a
man.
Facebook group called Stop Project Sale. It gives you a lot of information. The Coweta County residents here are amazing at just giving out all the information. Please join it. And also, the residents here filed an appeal to reverse their vote for Project Sale. And also, there is a page where you can donate if you want.
Guys, listen to what she said. This is very important. They're signing a petition to reverse their votes on Project Sale. What does that mean? Not only does that mean people are out there that didn't vote, people who in the comments in the chat say, I'm not interested in politics. We're talking about politics again. Oh, we're talking about voting. Oh, that's terrible. No, there are people who actually voted and voted for this. What? People voted, maybe not understanding, not realizing, maybe the way it was phrased with, hey guys, we're working on some incentives to give to companies to bring more jobs here to Coweta County, to bring more jobs here to Georgia, to bring more jobs X, Y, and Z. What do you think about that? You think that's a good idea? And then people say, sure, yeah. And then come to find out, we've got Project Sale. We've got many other projects where Georgia Power is able to come in, put up these lines because they need to feed into the infrastructure that's being built to support the alleged jobs that they're bringing into the county. So again, that's a big, big issue and something you have to be conscious about what's going on, which is why we're going to continue to talk about it here, because a lot of people aren't even looking and understanding what they're voting on. And now you have some people who are signing a petition and say, yeah, you know, I don't really like what I voted for. Oh man, scary, guys.
When I was a kid.
Scary.
He loved the land. He loved his cattle. It's sad because I thought I was doing everything right. And I feel like my goals and dreams are snatched from me. So there is a Facebook group called Stop Project Sale. It gives you a lot of information. The Coweta County residents here are amazing at just giving out all the information. Please join it. And also, the residents here filed an appeal to reverse their vote for Project Sale. And also, there is a page where you can donate if you wanted to. You don't have to by any means, but it takes all of us.
It takes us all to fight this fight. There are 20 families right now that are suing Coweta County for this decision. We will fight and we will not give up. Brianna, I want to show them over here. Similar to my mom's house, you guys. Brianna's farm neighbors the power lines. Georgia Power, you have enough. You don't need to take any more.
And you could hear, if you listen in the background, where I'm at right now, where near my office and studio is, there's a lot of these power lines. And you can hear them. You can even hear the humming, because I know that sound well. You can hear the humming in the background from these power lines. And I can imagine living close to them or having them run through your backyard, how disturbing that would be. Not to mention the biological and physical things that come from that as well. You can hear in the background, you're there, crazy.
Build where you already have. As just like my mom's, as far as the eye can see. Thank you, everybody, for sharing.
Thank you.
Again, it's Ansley from Coweta County. Brianna, we are going to fight for our property. Georgia Power, you can have it. Thank you.
Shout out to them. I also want to get into a little bit of this information. Brianna actually went and shared at a town meeting what was happening and what was happening to her land as well. We'll talk about it a little bit here, and then I want you to actually hear from her. So check this out. Georgia Power is forcing a family off their farm with eminent domain for a data center. I'm fighting for the survival of my cattle farm. I'm here because a massive data center was just approved a couple of miles from my land, and I'm being hounded by Georgia Power for an easement to build transmission lines through my property to the data center. I'm a local farmer, not an industrial developer. These 500 kilovolt lines aren't for me. They are for the data centers that our boards and surrounds the counties continue to approve. I have mail from lawyers stacking up on my kitchen table, wanting to take my case because they know my land is being targeted for eminent domain. These easements are permanent. They affect my ability to graze my cattle. They lower my property value, and they destroy the rural character of this country forever. This board makes decisions to approve these massive projects, but it's residents like me, young people trying to build a life here, who paid the price. All right, so that's enough of me reading it. Let's actually hear what Brianna had to say herself.
My name is Brianna Rice, Robinson Road. Speaking for myself, I'm 28 years old. While most people my age are planning vacations, I'm spending my time fighting for survival of my cattle farm. I'm here because a massive data center was approved just a couple of miles from my land, Project Sale, and I'm being hounded by Georgia Power for an easement to build transmission lines through my property for the FET data center. I'm a local farmer, not an industrial developer. These 500 kV lines aren't for me. They are for the data centers that the boards and surrounding counties continue to approve. I have mail from lawyers stacking up on my kitchen table, wanting to take my case because they know my land is being targeted for eminent domain. Okay, let's see. I shouldn't have to worry about the specific wording of a legal contract just to keep my own land from being industrialized. When the FET data center was first brought up, it should have been brought attention to all that would be impacted. I did not have a voice to speak my mind, and that feels like an infringement on my First Amendment rights. These easements are permanent. They affect my ability to graze my cattle, they lower my property value, and they destroy the rural character of this county forever. This board makes decisions to approve these massive projects, but it's residents like me, young people trying to build a life here, who pay the price. You're voting to turn our farms into a network of high voltage wires and noisy industrial buildings. I'm asking you to realize the real world impacts of your votes Every time you say yes to a data center, you're saying no to a local farmer. We aren't just numbers on a map. We are the future of the county. And right now you're making that future impossible. Respectfully, take that cow off the logo. Thank you. And I do have bigger fish to fry.
All right, so there she is. And then the board had something that they wanted to say on that as well, which we may get into in a later video. If you want to support or just find out more information about what's going on specifically in Georgia, you can go to stopsale.com, as you saw from Ansley, and listen to what they're saying here about Project Sale. And then I'll leave you guys with this. Project Sale is a 600 megawatt proposed hyperscale data center in Northwest Coweta County. All right, a massive public company is the developer, partnering with Atlas, a local shell company. All right. When completed, it will be one of the biggest data centers in the country. The proposed data center will sit between Wagers Mill Road and Welcome to Sargent Road in the rural residents of Coweta. This area is currently zoned for rural conservation. Project Sale is heavy industrial project. If it moves forward, the rezoning will set a precedent for all Coweta, putting any rural area at risk of development. Again, guys, it's crazy that they said this, because I was just talking about zoning minutes ago. And this is something that you need to be aware of, because we've seen the rezoning, we've seen the redrawing of maps. This is something that happens and can happen. So again, if you think you're safe, you might want to look into what's going on. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments in the chat. Y'all are going crazy in the chat. I see y'all. I see y'all in there. And we could go on about this for hours, because the stories are out there. And I've actually got one more story we're going to get into with y'all in a minute, because Ansley is out there. She's on a mission. Politics is interested in you, even if you're not interested in politics. Ooh, that's a bar. Talk about it. And then people get mad after they voted. Listen, these were people who voted are saying, we don't really like how we voted. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Who was that somebody said in the chat? It's just a lot of people are voting ignorantly. They're getting that Democratic ticket, they're getting that Republican ticket, and they're going not knowing the people who they're voting in or what they stand for. And we even heard during one meeting, there was someone who represented District 5 was saying, hey, listen, y'all don't like it, you can come get the seat. Otherwise, we're going to do what we think is best for the county. Great. Let me see if I need to find that guy. I wish I could go back and find that video. That was something that was amazing to me. This man said, listen, you don't like it, I'm sorry for you, but this is what we're doing. We think it's best for Coweta, and y'all can deal with it. Let me see if I can find that video, because that one's kind of shocking. Actually, I may have played it in the video that I made. Give me a second, because I want y'all to hear this. There's my video. That's not it. I might have to play my own video, y'all. This is gonna be kind of weird for me, but sometimes you got to do it. Let me play this video. There's where they're going to go, how they're going to affect people who live here, and here we go. And let me see if I can find it this way. Excuse me, because I want y'all to hear this, because these are how a lot of people who we elect feel about us. Here we go. I found the video now that I went back to my video. Just listen to how this man talks about the people who voted them in. Listen to this. It's just a quick video.
Coweta County has given the green light for the construction of a massive $17 billion data center. The Board of Commissioners voted last night to rezone the 800 acres of land despite fierce opposition in the county. Now plans for the data center, called Project Sale, are full steam ahead, apparently. Tonight, Fox 5's Rob Durienzo is at the live desk with a look at where residents are taking their fight now. Rob?
That's right, Russ. Good evening to you. Well, it was standing room only at this Board of Commissioners meeting in Coweta County over this massive data center. And after hearing from residents Tuesday night, the commissioners voted 3-2 to approve the rezoning.
Rezoning, guys.
This is a no-brainer for the county, and I will stake my political career on it. If you can run against me, you can.
A tense vote Tuesday night.
Y'all hear Alfonso Smith? Y'all hear this man? Let me run it back one more time. He said, "Hey, I think it's what's best. It's gonna bring money in here. Y'all don't like it? Vote me out." Dang.
To approve the rezoning.
This is how they feel.
This is a no-brainer for the county, and I will stake my political career on it. If you can run against me, you can.
A tense vote Tuesday night in Coweta County as commissioners advanced plans for the $17 billion data center called Project Sail. Its
Wow.
9 buildings, more than 4 million square feet, would require more power than the output of a nuclear reactor.
It's the right site for a data center project. It will bring good jobs and millions of dollars in revenue to the county per year.
While the head of the company behind the plan, Prologis, says it will boost the local economy, residents organized to campaign against it, fighting it tooth and nail.
It creates an industrial island in a sea of non-industrial land.
This proposed development is just 1,200 feet from Arco Sargent Elementary School and only 950 feet from a daycare.
Those residents opposed to
Come
the
on,
project
Alfonso.
wore red, arguing the jobs it would bring would only be temporary. Those in favor, like Chad Caldwell, wore blue. He thinks the county could seize on the money coming from Silicon Valley.
I know we need more money in this county. I know we need to work on roads, we need to build bridges, we need schools. And I think we're looking at a great opportunity to generate a tremendous amount of revenue.
As these data centers pop up all over the country to supply computing power for artificial intelligence, tech companies have increasingly been turning to Georgia. Within 60 miles of Atlanta, the website Baxtel has tracked 26 data centers currently under construction, with another 52 planned.
This area is already congested, and to add additional 4,000 vehicles daily in this area is asking for a tragedy.
Now, Russ, the permit that Coweta commissioners approved last night doesn't set forth a clear timeline of when construction could begin, but it does require that the developer has to fund road improvements and protect a private cemetery on the property.
Yeah, forget the land that was supposed to be protected and is a conservation. Let's just forget that. Hey, just make sure, can y'all give us a little bit of something? You said in the chat, give us a little kickback. Just give us a little kickback so we can fix the roads out here. Sheesh, guys. This is important. This is important. Eminent domain is unconstitutional. It's land theft. The nation was founded on property rights. Well, if we want to talk about land and rights, I think a lot of people would disagree with you on that. I mean, we could have a whole conversation about that. I mean, it's a part of the game. It's a part of the game. And again, if you don't want to stay involved and be up to date on what's happening here, it could affect you. And we're going to get back into it. This is going to be the third and final segment we're going to do today on these data centers, because as I mentioned, excuse me, Ansley Brown is going crazy. We got to get back and talk about what's going on with the data centers here in Georgia. As we just heard in a news report, there are 26 data centers under construction here in Georgia and 52 that are being proposed. Guys, if you don't find interest in this, you're going to want to listen up, especially if you're in Georgia, because that's what we're going to be specifically talking about now. And we're going to hear for some more people who are saying they're going to be affected by data centers going up around the state. Ansley Brown has been at the forefront of this and has been talking and having conversations with people who are on the ground, mostly in Coweta County, and being affected by this data center that's going up there and is taking a lot of homes and a lot of property because they're going to have to run the power lines to power these data centers. And Georgia Power just said, hey, sorry, guys, we need the land. So either we can give you a little bit of money for it or we're going to take it. Choice is up to you. Check this out. Ansley Brown says, meeting Cynthia, her passion absolutely blew me away. I was left nearly speechless after hearing about what Georgia Power is doing to her property. This is affecting 330 properties. We do not want to sell Coweta. We want to fight. Check this out.
Hey, you guys, it's Ansley Brown on the fight to save my mom's house from eminent domain. Here I am today with another mother and a homeowner who this is affecting. What is it taking from her? Look behind me. It's taking this entire backyard, the pool and everything. Tell us about it.
Wow.
Hi, my name is Cynthia, and I am just one of many homeowners who are impacted by Georgia Power's high voltage power lines that are going in to support data centers that are being built all over. We were informed that they were going to come in and take more than half of our property. They are going to demo all of these trees, playhouse, fence, fire pit, the pool, the spa, all of this, including our two neighbors' houses. They're completely demoing theirs. This easement is only going to be 12 feet from our house, 12 feet from our bedroom where we sleep. Now, they did say that they would take the entire house, that they would purchase the entire house. However, that purchase is based off of their own appraised value of the house.
Of course, this is how it goes, guys.
Less than our appraised value for the house, our own private appraisal. So it's not also sufficient enough to replace what we have. We have been told many times by them that they don't have to buy the house. They can only buy the easement, which would just decimate everything, every single thing, the pool, all of this, everything that we have spent 17 years building. It would be a financial devastation because we would never be able to rebuild this, especially at our age. And this is the only home our daughters have ever known. Georgia Power is owned by the Southern Company. The Southern Company is a $105 billion market capital company. They are bigger and just as big as the four combined capital markets of the four major airlines in the United States. Delta, United, American, and Southwest. Combine their market capitalization, and that equals the Southern Company, who owns Georgia Power. These data centers that are being built, they're being built for 5 primary companies that equate to $13 trillion in market capitalization. To put that in perspective, you take all the GDPs in the world, and there's only 2 that beat that, and that's the United States and China. Georgia Power is expecting all of the tax citizens and the landowners here to subsidize their project, to subsidize these data centers. And enough
this is what we voted for.
Thank you. That was amazing. You guys, out here, this is happening, like I said, to 330 properties. There are 21 homes that are being affected by this in Coweta County, Georgia. Not only does Georgia Power not care about our American farmers, they also don't care about our American mothers. This is happening to my mother. This is happening to Cynthia. Wouldn't your grandkids love to have this backyard? Because it's being taken. And on to the point of the easement being only 12 feet from her house, I hope you guys realize that means when she is sleeping in her bedroom, Georgia Power can pull a truck 12 feet from that window and be right there. So what are we gonna do, you guys? Are we gonna let them take it? Absolutely not. I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna keep sharing these homeowners' stories. Come and follow me. Thank you, Cynthia, so much. Thank you, guys. Keep fighting.
Wow. And there's even more. We're going to get into it here because there's so many people who are speaking out about this. And listen, guys, I know a lot of y'all are thinking it and going to say it in the comments because I've seen it. A lot of this happens to a lot of communities. Black community has seen this on a lot of in their city. We've talked about that before. You've seen it in a lot of different cases with people just being bought out of their house, not being able to have that generational home that they want to pass down to people. We even talked to Mike Russell about it. There are a lot of instances where the city's coming in and say, hey, we want a piece of your property. Can we have some of your property? We're going to take some of your property. People see the dollar signs and they just give up and they throw up their hands and say, well, I mean, a check's better than nothing. I can go buy a new house and I can, have a little cash on the side. Why not? Without even realizing or understanding the impacts that this has in further generations. We're just seeing it now from a different standpoint because these people have a lot of land. They got a lot of property. And they have it with the intentions of keeping it in the family for a long time. And that's why you see and hear these types of conversations, right? Check this out. We've got another one. Ansley is going off. talking about another home that's being affected. There's over 330. I feel like we should hear from all 330 of them.
Hey you guys, Ansley Brown from Coweta County, fighting for my mom's house being taken from eminent domain. I'm out here on the power lines. Guess what I found? Georgia Power out here tearing down a house. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on, you guys. What used to be here was an entire home. This is the exact same project that is taking from my mom. These poor people, Georgia Power already got them. I'm not gonna let them get my mom too. As you can see, you guys, they have plenty of room to work with. Let me just do a 360. Plenty, as far as the eyes can see, they have room. They don't have to do this, but they are. Do you think these people were paid fairly? Probably not. And look at what happened to their property. It is down on the ground, you guys. Bulldozing it as we speak. No joke, you guys. Eminent domain is taking people's homes out here in Coweta County, and I am going to put a stop to it.
Again, guys, this is happening in real time. We're seeing it. I'm so glad Ansley is documenting this as well. And now we've got local officials being called out, and people are getting a little frustrated with what's happening with this situation with the data centers. Check this out. In case you needed to see it firsthand, woke Rick Jackson is what they say, who is running for governor in Georgia, is very invested and believes in data centers, which consistently get thrust upon communities who do not want them. Will Republicans in Georgia see the wolf in sheep's clothes? Check this out from Mr. Jackson.
Someone sent us an audio of a rally you did in South Georgia, and you said, do you invest in a data center in Texas?
Yes, I do have an investment, and that's the reason I'm knowledgeable about it. When I found out, for instance, that I heard that first that the power was going up because of this new infrastructure and so forth like that. Well, the first thing, I had to provide a letter of credit that to the power company, so it didn't cost me. So I was wondering if it was different in Georgia. I found out in Georgia it's the same way. Georgia Power does not pass that cost on to anybody. They've frozen their power rates and so forth like that. So yes, I have an investment there, so I'm just familiar with the economics. That's the reason I'm bullish for Georgia, because
well, yeah, they're not doing it yet because they don't have to.
You know, I can take that,
if that's true,
that capability of understanding business transactions and convert it into reducing, helping affordability, increasing revenue and expenses, so you can cut down on taxes. So I think it's something we should definitely take a look at. Everybody that's concerned about it, they have a problem with it. I understand that, but I just think it's a potentially great opportunity, especially for rural areas.
He said, yeah, it's a great opportunity, Rick, for people to make some money and maybe for you to make some money. But you're forgetting about the folks who want to keep their land. And if you're deciding, the majority are deciding that, hey, this is happening, we're doing this, they voted for this property, we're now going to be able to take a third of it, a fourth of it, sorry, then what do you say to those people? Because they have a big problem with that, as we see. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, in the chat. Crazy stuff we're finding out about. And if you ever had a dream of owning a lot of property, having your own space, definitely need to look at who is in your local office, what the zoning is, how this could possibly affect you in the future. Because if you're planning for having generational property, something that you need to be interested in. Let me know what you think. Woo, y'all are on fire in the comments. This data center debacle is very interesting. And you see Rick Jackson, even Rick Jackson saying, hey, yeah, I get it. People are upset. Don't worry, your bill's not going to go up that much, guys. I mean, they're going to take the cost. Georgia Power is going to take the cost, and, it'll be fine. Yeah, because they're going to be making tons of money from these data centers going up. Not to mention, that doesn't mean that the cost isn't going to be seen by customers at a later date. So they might be saying, oh yeah, while we're doing construction, while these power lines are going up, y'all are good. If 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, is that still going to be the case? I don't know. He's a liar. It goes up, obviously. I mean, we've already heard situations where even the water was taken. Water pressure was affected. Other things were affected. And essentially, these are a lot of ways people say, someone mentioned gerrymandering in the chat. A lot of the ways are gentrification as well. a lot of the ways that and strategies and effects that can be used to push people out of their homes. So can you imagine? This is one of the things that happens in this situation. Can you imagine people dealing with this? And, you know, you have several people around you who say, oh man, the water pressure is going down because they're building this data center. I don't want to deal with that. Oh man, my electric bill is going up. I don't want to deal with that. And then you have, let's say 70 to 80% of the people, they take that check and they get out of there. Well, if you're the remaining person, you're still going to feel the effects of what happens by these data centers and the power lines being put in there. So say you just stand your ground and you fight. Well, if 70 to 80% of the community is gone, which I think is a high number, then you're going to still feel the weights and the benefits, and the Georgia Power and the other companies are just going to sit there looking at you like, hey, you had enough yet? You done? We're ready. We're waiting. Whenever you're ready, we'll write you a check. And then the amount you were offered isn't going to be the same amount you were offered in the first place. And you end up in a situation that a lot of people have been in the past and seen. So a lot of y'all are saying you deal with this and are dealing with it right now. I want more land and can't get it. $150 went up to $600 to $800 a month for power. I'm dealing with this right now. Wow. CPE's in here. What's up, my guy? He says, yep, they're going to need a whole lot of water to cool those data centers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just so we're clear, I'm against anyone's land being taken for any reason and not being fairly compensated. And I work in data centers from time to time as a contractor. Yeah. I wonder how the wealthy and politicians would feel if they had data centers in their yards. They'll just move. They got the money. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. It's about the money. Again, there's the wealthy because they're wealthy, and they'll just move and they'll go somewhere else. They can buy an island. They can go and invest in an area where a lot of this land they don't have to worry about. What do we say? What are the percentage? You can go to Connecticut, Iowa, Rhode Island. There's plenty of land out there, and you'll be left alone. We are nothing but an obstacle to them. I am on the United Nations website all the time. They need to be kicked out and not money. Yep. Shout out to Ansley for this as well. All right. We got to get into this next topic. And I actually need to, I was supposed to have a title ready for y'all on this one. And I do not. If you guys haven't yet, please make sure you like the video while you're in here. Thank you to everyone who's liked the video. Thank you to all 1,200 of y'all that are in the building. I appreciate it. We got to talk about some more interesting stuff going on here. And I think we're almost there. This situation is wild. Shifting a little bit from what we were talking about on the political side, we got to get back into the legal side. And this guy that was arrested is a piece of work if you haven't heard this story. He was arrested for attempted murder, and we're going to talk about it here in a second. Let me see. Double check and make sure we're good here. And I want to read some more of y'all's comments too. So we have the cooling comment made me think of the more colder states. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why not just put them in Alaska? You know? Put them in Alaska. Then you won't have to worry about the cooling. I don't know, but I don't know. I joined, but the power company and water company and city and county taxes take everything I have. If I didn't grow my own food, I'd be screwed. I like this channel. Oh, well, thank you for liking the channel. You know, we love having good conversations. All right, I just got to figure out how to spell attempted, and we can get on with the show. Here we go. I'd be struggling sometimes. Oh, man, this situation is insane, to say the least. I can't believe we're talking about this. Oh, man. If you guys haven't heard, there is a streamer. I won't call him a YouTuber because I don't think this guy streams on YouTube, but there's a streamer named Chud the Builder. Yes, that's his name. And this man was recently arrested for attempted murder. And the story gets crazier because if you don't know who this man is, I'm going to tell you, is definitely a piece of work and an interesting guy to say the least. But we're also going to find out that his bond was set at a ridiculously high rate. And I'm saying this as someone who doesn't agree with anything that this man stands for, because his bond was set at over $1 million for this in a case where he actually may have an opportunity to beat this. So we'll talk about it in a second. Who is Chud the Builder? Well, he's a streamer, and we're going to talk about some of his background here as we listen to this information from WKRN right where this happened. Oh, God.
A controversial Clarksville online video streamer is now facing an attempted murder charge. It's the result of a fight outside the Montgomery County Courthouse that ended in gunfire. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. Authorities say Dalton Etherly, also known as Chud the Builder, and another man were both shot during this exchange. News 2's Caitlin.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if they're going to cover it. Chud, he wasn't shot by the other man involved in this. He was actually shot by himself. He shot himself during this altercation.
Quisenberry has more on the investigation.
Controversial streamer Dalton Etherly, known online as Chud the Builder, is accused of shooting a man outside the Montgomery County Courthouse. The sheriff's office says both Etherly and another man were taken to the hospital for medical treatment. After the shooting, Etherly appeared to keep live streaming for several minutes. In the video, Etherly can be heard saying, quote, "Man, I just pray that dude is going to be all right. I tried to walk away from him." Court records show Etherly was scheduled for a civil debt appearance that morning in Montgomery County. In Etherly's stream, he claimed the incident started after a man laughed at him. Etherly claims he walked away after interacting with the man. The man followed him, and a fight broke out. That's when Etherly drew his weapon. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office is pursuing charges against Etherly for criminal attempted murder, aggravated assault, and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. Etherly is also facing a separate criminal case in Nashville. He's accused of refusing to pay a $400 bill to Bob's Steak and Chop House downtown and screaming racial slurs. Etherly has over 226,000 followers on X, all due to his live streams where he's shown in places like Broadway, Clarksville, and Gatlinburg, insulting and calling people racial slurs. In a Give Send Go post, Etherly writes, "I've shared mild jokes, unfiltered thoughts, and yes, sometimes I've used the N-word in what I thought was edgy, harmless humor. I know it's controversial, but it's my right to speak freely." Etherly is booked into the Montgomery County Jail, where he's being held without bond. He will have his arraignment and bond hearing on Friday. In Nashville, Caitlin Quisenberry, News 2.
And shout out to my favorite state and one of my favorite states in the entire nation. Listen, let's talk about the free speech situation in this. Guys, I just find it hilarious that this is all being done under the guise of free speech. We all know, and many of y'all, most of the people who view this channel are very educated. And we know that the free speech, when talking about the Constitution, is protecting you from being silenced by the government and facing backlash or facing consequences from the government from certain things that you say. That does not mean that if you go into somebody's face and you call them a name or you say something to them, that you avoid consequences from private citizens and people, because as Chud found out, that's not how things work. The freedom of speech is from the government. It is not from people. You will face consequences from people if you say certain things to them. That's just the world we live in. That's how the way the culture works. And in this instance, he was deciding to insult this man, which we're going to get into the video and see some of what happened here. And you have to suffer the consequences. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think we're going to look into the charges into this. I think the DA is probably overcharging this man. Again, I don't agree with what he stands for and the way he's trying to get his message across, because I think it's honestly not great. It's not a great way to do it. And it pushes and incentivizes people to be racist, which I don't think is a great message as well. But this is a part of the video. There's no sound on this, but check this out. So you can actually see them fighting and getting into it. You can see Chud is on top of this guy, throwing him on the ground. They're fighting, going back and forth. And then that's when the shots were fired. Security's got them secured. This looks like the woman that was with the man that was involved in the fight as well. And you can even see Chud's hat over there on the ground. I hope it was worth it, man. I hope it was worth it. And honestly, this guy, he actually tried to raise some money to help with his bond, which we're going to get into and talk about his $1 million bond in a second. And I think he's raised so far like 10% of that. So I don't know if he's going to make it out of jail. But check this out. Someone posted this video of him too. And it says, we all knew where Chud the Builder was headed, and it happened right after being released from jail.
This video show Etherly on a stretcher after the shooting.
They're pointing at me. They're laughing. They're pointing at me, and I said, "What's up, guys? How y'all doing?" I said, "Y'all like the new suit?" He said, "Walk away from me." I walked away from him. He came back up to me. He literally said, "I have PTSD. I feel like I'm in." He said, "You start saying all that chimp out shit to me, I'm gonna hit you." He hit me. Started wailing on me even after I had to defend myself by shooting him. He's still wailing on me.
Where's your weapon at?
They have everything.
Etherly has become well known on social media for posting videos of himself shouting racial slurs at people. Investigators tell us both men involved in the shooting were rushed to the hospital. No word on their conditions.
Somebody get him a banana. He's chimping out.
This video shows.
And that's just that is a mild version of what this guy says. Let's go ahead and get into this article. Chud the Builder charged with attempted murder after Clarksville courthouse shooting. Clarksville, Tennessee, a live streamer known as Chud the Builder is facing attempted murder and other felony charges after authorities said a confrontation outside the Montgomery County courthouse escalated into a shooting. Not looking great for this guy. Dalton Etherly, 28, was arrested Wednesday following the shooting outside a courthouse at 2 Millennium Plaza in Clarksville, according to the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office and the Tennessee District Attorney General's Office. What happened? Everything we know about the controversial live streamer Chud the Builder. All right, so Clarissa Greaves works at a coffee shop nearby. She said, "I heard gunfire and looked up, and everyone in the cafes, everyone's head turned," she said. She said she saw the aftermath unfold at the coffee shop window. Pretty scary," said Greaves. His, talking about Chud's, arm was all patched up, and it had like some blood and stuff, and he was getting wheeled into the ambulance. Deputies and Clarksville police officers responded around 1:20 p.m. to reports of gunfire outside the courthouse. Investigators said an altercation between Etherly and an unidentified man turned violent, which they said resulted in an exchange of gunfire. That is false, and that is a wrong use of the word. There was no exchange of gunfire. There was gunfires. The only one firing, from my understanding, was this guy here. Both men suffered gunshot wounds, and we now know that Chud shot the man who he was fighting with, and he accidentally shot himself. One man was taken to Vanderbilt of Clarksville Hospital for treatment, while the other was flown by life flight to Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville. Authorities said both are in stable condition, thank God. The sheriff's office said Etherly was charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault, reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, and employing a firearm during the commission of a felony. Investigators have not publicly identified the second man involved in the shooting and have not said what sparked the confrontation or whether both men were armed. The shooting came just days after Etherly, I keep saying his name wrong, after Chud was arrested in Nashville following a disturbance at Bob's Steak and Chop House. According to an arrest affidavit filed in Metro Nashville Police, restaurant staff had asked Chud not to live stream inside the business. Police said employees later discovered he continued to live stream and asked him to stop. Investigators said that Chud became disruptive, yelling and screaming and making racial comments inside the restaurant. And this is his thing that he does allegedly. Apparently, I should say, not even allegedly. Officers said he then refused to pay a $371.55 tab that included entrees, appetizers, and drinks. He was charged with theft of services under $1,000 and disorderly conduct. Court records show he was released on a $5,000 bond. Greaves said she is not surprised things escalated to what she saw on Thursday, considering Chud's reputation. "I think it was kind of bound to happen," she said. Chud currently has a social media following based on live stream videos, some of which he films and confrontations with strangers in public places. As of Thursday morning, Chud is still at a Montgomery County jail where he is being held pending arraignment, at which time bond will be set, which we're going to talk about in a second. He has an upcoming court hearing today. And what happened at that court hearing? I bet y'all are wondering. Well, we have some breaking news. Chud's bond was set for $1.25 million. I don't think he's getting out. And look at this man's face when the judge tells him how much his bond's going to be.
So we're gonna have a bail.
I'm gonna set just a bond right now till we have our bail hearing. Then I'll let you make all the arguments. We can go through all the factors in the statute and see if that gets amended up or down. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to set initial bond at $1.25 million. $1.25 million.
Look at his face. That's dumb. Hope it was worth it.
Based upon the fact of how many people were in the courtyard, we're here at the courthouse, and the seriousness of all these felonies, and his bond status.
What a dummy.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, the 26th at 9 o'clock, the 21st at 9 o'clock for a bond hearing, and then the 26th at 9 for a preliminary hearing right here. Does that work for everybody's calendar? General, does that work for the state?
Yes.
All right.
Just for the court's information, and Mr. Finley, the state is going to request and file a source hearing when and if there's an attempt to make bond.
Okay. Is there any objection of us taking all those matters up at the bond hearing on the 21st?
No.
Mr. Finley, do you have any objection to doing it that way? That's the most efficient way, I think.
Judge, we'll try and have everything lined up for the court.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Finley, from you today?
No, sir.
All right. From the state? Okay. That'll conclude these proceedings today, okay?
Thank you.
We'll be in recess.
For your recess, keep your seats.
Not looking good for old Chug, and he's got some black folks around him. I wonder if he'll be saying the N-word to them. I shouldn't be laughing throughout this video. This whole situation it's honestly ridiculous, and it's scary in some ways because this could have been prevented. I get the point he's trying to make about free speech, but again, you don't get free from consequences of how people feel about what you're saying. And that goes for anybody. I mean, you can be canceled in a minute for exercising your free speech. And it looks like he's about to get canceled in a different way. Let me know what you guys think in the comments in the chat. Hey, shout out to Chud. Chud the Builder. What a dummy. And now he's got a $1.25 million bond. Oh my goodness. Crazy. Let me see what y'all are saying. Oh gosh. Thought I heard it all. He's got a 70s mustache. I have no idea who Chud is. Trust me, you're not missing. As I was doing research for this, I probably was able to spend maybe 1 or 2 minutes looking at some of his content, and I was done after that. It's not worth your time. Although I know a lot of y'all will look into it. He's just yeah. It'll be interesting to hear how his jail experience goes. He's not gonna have a good time in jail, but we'll see. I'll wait for an officer video up close and can hear what is being said. Yeah, I think so. And again, I mean, I believe innocent until proven guilty. So as much as I don't agree with how this man chooses to conduct himself, that doesn't really factor in for me on whether I believe he's innocent or guilty or not. It's not the way it goes. So let's talk about Governor Kemp and what he's got going on with the voting situation coming up. Oh, this voting situation is crazy. We got to get into it. And I want to type this out so we can see what is happening with voting in Georgia. As many of you know, and we talked about on this channel, the July 1st deadline is coming up. And it's not looking good when it comes to voting in Georgia. Well, let me see who I'll put up here. I'll put the president of the United States. I'll put Greg Dolezal up there. Shout out to Senator Dolezal, my favorite senator. And we'll get into it. We've got to talk about these changes that are coming up when it comes to voting here in Georgia. Now, Governor Kemp is putting in work, and he's actually been doing a lot to try and figure out what's going to happen July 1st when the QR code that is still on the ballots is actually illegal. Yes, it's going to be illegal. The way the voting set up is going to be illegal, and something needs to be done. We've seen meetings from the state election board, and they actually had a meeting recently we're going to cover in another video, and they've tried to figure out what power that they have to affect these elections and to make sure that we move forward with enforcing what the law already says. And now we're hearing from the governor. Strangely enough, Secretary of State's office has been weirdly silent on this, and we've even heard from election workers on this channel who have said Secretary of State's office hasn't told us what we're doing. So election officials are confused. We've got confusion everywhere. And now we're actually maybe going to get some clarity from the governor, and something Greg Dolezal talked about as well. So what is this? What do they say here? We have Governor Brian Kemp has called a legislative special session starting on June 17th. Oh my gosh, the 14 days before we're supposed to deal with the voting issue, to redraw congressional and state legislative lines for 2028 and to deal with the 2024 law calling for QR codes to be no longer used to count ballots. All right. And so here's the information. You see the proclamation there from the governor. And now we're going to get into some of the details. Let's check out this video from Atlanta News First.
Georgia Senator Reverend Raphael Warnock wants to know why the DOJ is requesting the personal information of every 2020 Fulton County elections worker. In a letter to the acting attorney general, Senator Warnock also asked how the DOJ plans to protect that information. The county has been trying to block the request for the workers' names, addresses, and phone numbers. It's not clear if this is tied to the January FBI raid of the Fulton County Elections Hub. That search was part of an investigation into potential election fraud.
And again, this goes into why am I showing this? Because we're actually going to talk about this article and how this all plays into what the governor is trying to do and what he's facing, because the Department of Justice and the FBI are not backing up on their investigation, and moving forward, we're trying to figure out how we are going to fix the issues with the QR codes with the voting. This is going to play an important factor into that. So check this out. What do they say at Atlanta News First? They say Georgia's 2 U.S. senators and Congress members representing Fulton County want to know why the U.S. Department of Justice is demanding the personal information of the county's 2020 election workers. Democratic Senators Raphael Warnock, boo, and John Ossoff, boo, along with Democrat Representative Nikema Williams and Lucy McBath, whose districts include parts of Fulton County, sent a letter to acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche on Friday asking for the details behind a recently issued subpoena for the election workers' names, addresses, and phone numbers. They just want to have a little conversation. They just want to talk. Fulton County, the lawmakers asked how the Department of Justice plans to protect the workers' information. Fulton County leaders have been trying to block the subpoena, which came months after the FBI raided the county's election hub as a part of the investigation into potential election fraud. In the letter, lawmakers asked Blanche for details, including the legal and factual basis for seeking personal information from election workers, the Department of Justice's process for obtaining the subpoena, and what safeguards the department has to protect the workers' information. The lawmakers request that Blanche's office provide a briefing to their office by May 22nd. Yeah, good luck with that. And provide written responses to their questions in a letter by June 1st. And then we have the letter here. I'm not going to read this BS because it's basically more information about why they feel like this is just a threat to democracy, as we keep hearing from people like Senator Warnock and John Ossoff. So now let's talk about what is happening and what Brian Kemp is doing to basically lock in on this weird and strange situation with the voting here in Georgia. So Governor Kemp, he just signed a controversial nonpartisan election bill for 5 metro Atlantic counties. And some people are upset about this, right? Only the sheriff and coroner elections are not included in the bill that is signed into law. Unfortunate thing about this is a lot of us feel like sheriff should be included as well as the coroner, but we'll talk about that in a second. Governor Brian Kemp has signed a bill that would make every election in 5 metro Atlanta counties nonpartisan, except for sheriff and coroner. Excuse me. Think I gotta sneeze. Maybe not. I think we're good. Are we good? I wanted to come. Okay, I think we're good. Let's get back into it. The controversial bill includes Fulton, DeKalb, Gwinnett, Cobb, and Clayton counties. Let's go more into the article. On Tuesday night, Fulton County District Attorney, oh, here we go, Fannie Willis, boo again, and DeKalb County District Attorney Sherry Boston issued a joint statement calling the bill clearly unconstitutional. House Bill 369 is clearly unconstitutional, and we are all appalled that Governor Brian Kemp's decision to sign it into law, and this is a blatant attempt by Republicans to give their candidates an edge in Democratic counties by hiding their party affiliation from voters. Wait a second. Why does this side keep insulting voters? They really don't feel like y'all are educated voters, because we keep hearing this over and over and over. Raphael Warnock said it over and over and over. People in Georgia, many people in Georgia, especially on a certain side, have said, oh man, we bring the Save America Act. We do this. People aren't going to know how to vote. They don't have their papers. You got these married women. They're stupid. They're not going to know and be able to figure out how to vote because their names changed when they got married. This is what they're saying. Certain communities, they don't even have their birth certificate. Y'all know how it is. You know how it is. People don't even know how to find their birth certificate, attacking certain communities. This conversation is so old. And the only reason they're worried about this is because maybe then people will actually have to look into and understand and think about who they're voting for. And that's dangerous to them. They don't want y'all to think. They want y'all to say, ooh, black, female, blue, vote. Ooh, black, male, blue, vote. Ooh, white, male, Republican, vote. They don't want y'all to think. They want everybody on this side, everybody on that side. They don't want you guys thinking about, what does this person actually stand for? What's their track record? No, go to the polls, straight ticket, leave. So they can determine and they can already know what's going to happen. Now, if this happens moving forward, Fannie Willis has to be worried because there may come someone, who knows, what if we have a black female who is on the other side? And if this is nonpartisan, maybe she runs, maybe she gets the vote, and people actually like what she stands for and what she wants to do for the community. Interesting thought there. Why would you be worried about this? Why would you not like it? Well, that's because, and we'll read this again, they say that this is a blatant attempt by Republicans to give their candidates an edge in Democratic counties by hiding their party affiliation from voters. Think about what that means. Worse, they make clear their bad faith and unconstitutional moves by applying this legislation to only 5 of the 159 counties in Georgia: Clayton, Cobb, DeKalb, Fulton, and Gwinnett. Those 5 counties have elected African American Democratic women who serve as their district attorneys. We should have known, guys. We should have known this is the reason. We are committed to defending the rights of our constituents and uphold the Constitution. So we will be taking legal action to have this illegal law overturned. Sadly, thanks to the irresponsible actions of the Republican majorities in the legislature and Governor Kemp, taxpayers will be the ones footing the bill to defend this in court. Fannie Willis basically said, hey, listen, y'all, bring out the checkbook because I'm about to fight this, and sorry, you got to pay for it. Good Lord. Roswell Republican Senator John Albers, the bill's sponsor, says it's about public safety, not politics. It has nothing to do with the party. You basically be eliminating parties, so of course it doesn't. Albers told Channel 2's Rich Elliott in March, we have the Super Bowl coming here. We have the NCAA. We have the World Cup. We have all the conglomerations of the federal, state, and local agencies working together. If we can take the politics out of that equation, that means we're focusing on public safety, which is my number one priority. Why are they scared, guys? When Elliott spoke to the Democratic lawmakers earlier this year, they promised lawsuits if the bill was signed into law, of course. And shout out to Phil Holloway with Inside the Law. He's actually doing some great work over there with Megyn Kelly as well. What did Phil have to say about this? He had a great take, and he says this. This is the same as with judicial races, which is true. In Georgia, the district attorney is part of the judicial branch, not the executive branch, as they are constitutional officers attached to the superior courts. The only reason Fani Willis says it's controversial is because she does not like it. And that is 1000% true, which is why her and Miss Boston brought up the race issue. African-American, Democratic, Black females, which would say to me, the only reason people are voting for y'all is because you're African-American, Black females. If you take away the Democratic part, you might lose some votes. Interesting thought. I want to know what you guys think about this in the comments in the chat. All right, y'all. How long have we been up in here? We've been in here for 2 hours. My goodness. I'm going to let y'all go. Thank you to everybody who supported. I'm going to read a couple more comments and we'll get out of here. Recall Fani. I did not vote for Fani this go around, so I did my job. Not all Black people are Democrats. Hey, listen. Listen, that is true, but a lot of them are. A lot of them are die hard, no holding back Democrats. It could be the most egregious thing you've ever seen. They still gonna vote. They still gonna vote that way. So I agree that not all of them are. I don't think anybody's saying them. All of them are. The majority of them are for sure. Let me read a couple of these and we'll get through it. I want to thank everybody who liked the video. Thank y'all, man. There's still over 6,000 of you in the building. Thank you to everybody who shared the video. Big thank you to everyone who supported Harvey S.F. Davis III, Mountain Goddess, and then of course my beautiful, awesome, amazing Amy E. in here always showing up. 92% are. Is it really 92%? Dang, I didn't think it was that high. Numbers got to be dropping. And we even heard from, who was it that said it? I think it was Janelle King. She said when they saw the numbers starting to drop of the amount of Black folks here in Georgia that were voting Democratic, they started to get worried. Started to get scared. 92% seems low. Wow. Eesh. Yeah, Republicans are trying to strike while the iron's hot. People are waking up, man, and seeing that just going Democrat or even just going Republican isn't always the way to go. Being conscious about the administration, being conscious about who you're putting in office is the more reasonable way to do it. Shout out to, oh my goodness, Mountain Goddess in here in the clutch, right as we're about to end the show, gifting 5 memberships. Wow. If you got a membership from Mountain Goddess, please make sure you say thank you. Also, your name will now be highlighted in that beautiful green. You can check out the members only content and you get instant access to all the videos we drop here on the channel. So if you haven't yet, y'all, please make sure you say thank you to Mountain Goddess, and any videos that we're going to be releasing over the weekend, we're going to have them scheduled out for you guys. You'll be able to watch immediately and you won't have to wait as well. Thank y'all for the support. Big shout out to everyone who supported today. We will be back on Monday. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you guys get to enjoy your family, your friends, get to relax, enjoy this beautiful weather we're having. And as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace. Thank you, Mountain Goddess. I appreciate the love. That's amazing.